it's Mo. It's February and Leanna at Leanna Reads, who is one of my favorite booktubers, not in the least because she does a cat lady readathon a couple of times every year. It started in 2022 and she's continuing in 2023, is doing another cat lady readathon. So this readathon is going to be a week long starting on February 17th and ending on February 23rd. February is a tight month for me. I do have some cat content that I want to share with you and some cat lady content that I want to share with you. And today I thought I would bring you 5 of my favorite children's books, all featuring cats. So I used to do a series on this channel called 5 blank favorites, but it doesn't really make sense, so I'm going to change it to 5 favorite blank. So this is my 5 favorite children's books featuring cats. These are all books that I had on my shelf, and they're all books that I read or was read to as a child, and they're all books that I still love today. Except that the first book, which is called Throw a Kiss Harry by Mary Chalmers, is not my favorite Harry book. Mary Chalmers did a series of these, and my favorite of this series is Go to Bed Harry. In all of these books, our young hero Harry is a young kitten, and his mom is always trying to get him to do things. So most of the time he is a good boy, but sometimes he can get a little rambunctious, waving to firemen and climbing trees, and eventually blows a kiss to the firemen. Sorry, I gave away the ending of this book. But in Take a Nap Harry, or Go to Bed Harry, maybe it's Take a Nap. In Take a Nap Harry, his mother is trying to get him down for a nap, and of course he is reluctant to do so. I recently saw Take a Nap Harry in my house somewhere, and I just don't know where it is, and when I went to look for it in my children's books, I couldn't find it. So it's around. I love the Mary Chalmers Harry books. They're just so cute. She also did a lot of other children's books, which I enjoy also. They have a very like 60s, 70s vibe to me. I love the illustrations, which she did in them as well, and I think Harry and his mom are just so cute. These are definitely on the younger side of children's books. The other books that I have here are a little bit more accessible for adults. The next book that I want to talk about is The Church Mouse by Graham Oakley. Although the story is named after a mouse, it is actually more the story of a church cat, a cat who lives in the church and tolerates the mice that also live there. So he once was a mouse chaser, but now he is, as the book says, reformed, and he befriends and takes care of the mice living in the church. He also takes care of the church itself and doesn't let anything bad happen to it. So when a potential robber threatens the safety of the church, the cats and the mice find a way to capture him and keep the church from harm. This is a fun, a little bit more wordy children's book. Definitely a little bit for older readers, especially with the threat of robbery. But I love the illustrations in this one. These are like my favorite kind of illustrations, with thin lines and watercolor pictures, and I like the kind of antics that the cat and the mouse get into. This one is also a series, and I do have a couple more. Always fun to read. Oh man, next we're getting into like my favorite children's books, and one of those is In the Castle of Cats by Betty Boldhold and illustrated by Jan Brett. So Jan Brett is a very famous illustrator, and she does a lot of really amazing works. I think she did the one about the mitten where all the animals try to get in the mitten. This book I've never seen except the one that I've had since my childhood, and again it has those really gorgeous thin lined illustrations that I just love. These have just a few colors, black, blue, and the gray tones of the fine line work. And this story is about a young kitten who goes to visit her mother, an elder in the Castle of the Cats, and her mother is kind of telling her stories about why cats don't leave the castle, that there are so many perils outside of the castle, and that the castle is a safe space that cats come to for protection and to be loved. I always love this story. It's kind of in the middle, wordy-wise, between the first two books that I mentioned, but it definitely is sad and sweet and heartwarming in the end, and a cautionary tale to not wander too far from home. I didn't put these books in favorite order, but these next two are probably two of my all-time favorite children's books, and one of those is Fire Rose by Susanna Jeske. If you don't know, I love a giant cat, and Fire Rose is about a young girl who is born different than most young girls. One of her family members is a giant magic cat. When this young girl is born, her mother and Mike, the giant cat, try to explain to her why she is perfect and beautiful even though she has a tail. This is one of my all-time favorite illustrations. Look at Mike, he's amazing. As Fire Rose grows up, she learns to love her tail in many ways, but it's still a big difference, especially from the other kids that she grows up around. This book is all about accepting yourself and your flaws and reveling in who you are. So the ending of this book takes kind of a surprise turn. I won't spoil this one for you. It is another heartwarming, sad, sweet, and loving tale. Finally, we have the most probably adult of these children's books, and that is Night Cats by Anthony Tabor. I don't know where we first picked this one up, but I remember reading this over and over and over again as a young child, and since then I bought a couple of extra copies of it so that I always have one. This is a children's book all about night cats, and it has only illustrations and no words. So it is a beautiful black and white illustrated work with all sorts of strange things that cats might get up to at night while you're asleep. I love the intense contrast of the illustrations, and I love that you can use your imagination to figure out what they're doing or to create a story around each page. If you know anyone who loves cats, I think that this would be a great gift to give them or something to show them if you have not shared it with them yet. Those were 5 favorite cat children's books. Let me know if you read any children's books with cats in them when you were a child or more recently as an adult. Let me know what your all-time favorite children's book is, whether it has a cat or not. Thanks so much for joining me today, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!